We all love single-player games as you can really immerse yourself in different environment areas and choose different playstyles. These single-player games provide some of the best storylines that stay with us for a long time after finishing them. That's why I have made a list of 11 amazing single-player games that you must play. Also, don't forget to check out the bonus games at the end too. Days Gone. Everyone knows about the greatness of Days Gone. This underrated game blew us away with its storyline and an engaging open world filled with missions. One of the most important features is the bike. It was such a nice decision to include a bike for the main character in this zombie-filled open world. You feel like an absolute beast while riding your bike through hordes of zombies. There's just something pretty exciting and thrilling about owning a bike and cruising through the open world destroying zombie nests and completing missions. The game has everything in it. You won't get bored as there's a lot more content than to just focusing on the main storyline. There are multiple camps and you need to complete a certain number of missions for each camp for further progression. Days Gone sort of makes you a worthy warrior capable of surviving in the wilderness from scratch. Every mission in the game somehow helps you to grow and get stronger. The developers did a great job by adding a variety of weapons and customization which proves to be extremely helpful for the main character in his progression. There's never a second wasted here. You're always doing something as there's a lot of grinding to do. Unlike some other games, you're not overpowered from the start. Therefore, you acquire several weapons and even bike modifications through hard work. Nevertheless, Days Gone is one of the best single-player experiences as it shows more than just simple zombie shooting. There are Reapers as well, which are in fact just other people who happen to have lost their sanity. However, amidst all this, it's always amazing to see our main character balancing out all this while finding his wife. To this day, I still wonder how the entire storyline consists of so much different stuff besides the whole finding the wife part. Obviously, it's a good thing as players got to experience so much more than a simple mission to know what happened to Deacon's wife. Metro Exodus. This is one of my favorite Metro games ever. Exodus tackles the whole post-apocalyptic setting in a different way by adding a variety of content. If you've played the previous Metro games, you're in for a real treat because Exodus takes the series to a whole new level. This time you're not just crawling through the dark tunnels of the Moscow Metro anymore, rather you're out in the open, traveling across post-apocalyptic Russia in a freaking train. It's such a refreshing change of pace. Also, I can't help but mention Chris Evans' movie Snowpiercer, which shares then similar living on a train plot. Anyways, you play as Artyom, who's somehow obsessed with the idea that there's still life on Earth besides the tunnels. And you know what, he's right, people can survive out in the open. However, as engaging all this sounds, there are a lot of twists and turns. But the great thing is that the characters actually feel like real people you start to care about. It's fascinating to see that in a post-apocalyptic environment you'll be caring about other survivors and doing several things to help them out. The story is extremely heartfelt as it's filled with touching moments which kind of brings a nice feeling besides the whole apocalypse stuff. Now, if I talk about the gameplay, then this time you're in for a surprise. You've got your classic tight atmospheric Metro levels, but now you also get these large open areas to explore. And let me tell you, the environments are stunning. Each area you visit feels unique, from the icy Volga River to the scorching Caspian Desert. The attention to detail is insane. It's not just me, but I know a lot of other players who appreciated the game's beauty. It doesn't feel like a normal kind of dark monster killing game. It's hard to describe, but I believe the developers sort of made a full-fledged game capable of rivaling some of the best mix of linear open-world games. Survival elements are still a big part of the game. You're constantly scavenging for resources, crafting ammo, and keeping your weapons in good shape. Plus, the day-night cycle and weather changes really impact how you approach situations. Uncharted 4. It's such a great experience to see Nathan coming back for one last treasure hunt together with his long-lost brother Sam. The game is packed with a lot of perfect content such as well-written characters, action-packed cutscenes, linear gameplay that never gets tiring, amazing graphics with finest details, and an engaging storyline. The story is filled with twists and turns that keep you on the edge of your seat. It's like being in an Indiana Jones movie, but you're the one making the daring escapes and solving ancient puzzles. Throughout your journey, you meet multiple characters, and all of them play a vital role in shaping the storyline. I can still remember I was surprised to see how well each character plays its role, almost making them as important as Nathan. Now, if we talk about the gameplay, then it's a mix of action, puzzle solving, exploration, stealth, and some parkour. You will be doing several things throughout your playthrough rather than just blasting enemies. The game is perfectly paced, making you switch between action, combat, and puzzle solving. One moment you're killing enemies, and the next thing you know you're looking for clues for the next puzzle. No matter what I say, Uncharted 4 is the best one, as it's also available on modern consoles, resulting in updated graphics. All the different environments such as jungles, hidden pirate coves, bustling cities, mansion, everything feels incredible. You will be amazed to see how a normal treasure hunt journey takes you through many different places and makes you scratch your head to solve the puzzles. Nevertheless, you've got to play the game by yourself to find out what I'm talking about. Also, a bonus tip would be to stay patient in the first few hours. After that, the game will surely become interesting.
You good? Yeah.
Resident Evil 4. My all-time favorite game from the series. Look, I love survival games, but there was just something different about the fourth that made me go crazy. All that action and combat felt extremely satisfying. It was as if I'm the god of the zombie world. If you played the original, you're in for a treat because they've nailed that balance between nostalgia and fresh content. I'm not going to go there as to which is better, the original or the remake. Just know that there are a lot of players who enjoyed the remake, as it's not possible for everyone to play the original because it's quite old and the graphics are outdated.
Leon, you know I don't work in town. Leave the girl. She's lost no matter what.
This time, Capcom really outdid themselves in terms of graphics. The attention to detail in the environments, the character models, and the lighting, it all looks so crisp and immersive. Every area has been upgraded to meet the modern console requirements. The atmosphere is just dripping with tension in that classic Resident Evil vibe. The developers have kept the core mechanics and modernized them for an enhanced experience. The camera feels smooth, and the controls are tight as well as responsive. They've added some new mechanics too, like a parry system which adds a layer of strategy to combat. Speaking of which, the enemies are way more aggressive and intelligent. The Ganos will swarm you, and they've got some new tricks up their sleeves that keep you on your toes. Look, all I'm trying to say is that if you prefer some great deal of action combined with great graphics, then this is your best choice. We all know that Resident Village has much better graphics. Still, if you prefer some good action with the element of survival, then the fourth installment is a decent choice. My favorite protagonist is Leon. So of course that's one of my reasons to love this game, as this time it's not just about running from the tyrant. Leon still got his cheesy one-liners, which I love. It's part of what makes him such an iconic character. And Ashley, she's a lot more bearable this time around. They've really fleshed out her character and made her more involved in the gameplay without being annoying. Overall, the Resident Evil 4 remake is a fantastic reimagining of a classic. It's got the right mix of old and new, with enough surprises to keep you hooked from start to finish. It's a masterclass in how to do a remake right.
We gotta keep moving forward. We will beat this. Together.
I don't know if I can.
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. How can we forget about the OG RPG game? Legend of Zelda is just really, a really great open world game that has everything to hook you from start to finish. From the moment you wake up as Link in the Shrine of Resurrection, the game just draws you in. The world of Hyrule is massive and incredibly detailed. It gives you this incredible sense of freedom where you can climb anything, go anywhere, and the way the environment reacts to your actions is just mind-blowing. Sure, some players have different opinions about this game, but you just need to know that the game is counted among some of the best open world RPG games for a reason. Therefore, it's no doubt that there must be a lot amazing stuff that made it so popular. Also, the new Tears of Kingdom is being loved by millions of players. One of the coolest aspects is how the game encourages exploration. There are shrines everywhere, and each one is like a little puzzle box waiting to be solved. Sometimes you'll find them by accident while wandering, or you'll see one off in the distance and just feel compelled to go check it out. Now, not just the shrines, there's a lot more to explore. The whole point of the game is to venture into the open world and see different places or kill different monsters. This is a game that's going to devour your time, and you'll be able to spend over 100 hours and will still feel like you missed something. Also, how can we miss talking about the combat? It's super fun too, as you get a variety of weapons, each with its own feel and strategy. The durability system might seem annoying at first, but it really forces you to think about your encounters and manage your resources. Plus, there's something immensely satisfying about picking up a random goblin's weapon and using it against him. Nevertheless, this is literally one of those great OG games that you must play if you're a fan of the open world RPG games. The open world feels alive with all the NPCs, wildlife, and dynamic weather. Sometimes you'll just be walking through a field and a thunderstorm will roll in, forcing you to rethink your approach, or you'll be scaling a mountain and see a dragon flying by. It's those moments that really make the game feel special. A Plague Tale: Innocence. Before I continue, know that this game is not for everyone. You must stay patient and get through the storyline and see the curtains fall before you can appreciate how good it was. Plague Tale is a game that you're definitely going to hate. If you're not familiar with stealth-focused, slow-paced games, the entire playthrough is all about sneaking around and getting from one place to another with as little violence as possible. You're not some overpowered main character. In this game, you're a simple human and are tasked to progress further with the help of your kid brother. The game is set in France during the Black Death. You play as Amisha, a young girl from a noble family, and you're thrust into this dark, gritty world where everything's gone to hell because of the plague and this weird rat infestation. Seriously, the rats are insane. They're everywhere, swarming in these horrifying waves that can devour anything in their path. The game kicks off with you trying to survive after the Inquisition comes after your little brother, Hugo, who's got this mysterious illness.
Oh my god. Are they all dead? We can't carry on. Amicia, we have to follow the aqueduct.
Now, the story's all about the bond between Amisha and Hugo as they try to stay one step ahead of both the Inquisition and the plague-ridden rats. It's pretty heavy on the stealth, and you have to navigate through the gritty environments plus solve puzzles. It's so great to see both Amisha and Hugo helping each other out throughout the storyline. There will be many times where you'll be switching between the sister and brother, as you will need to solve a lot of platform puzzles or pull some kind of level. The game is absolutely slow paced, but if you can get through the initial hours, then everything starts to fall into place as you start getting an idea about what's going on and what to do.
Oh no! The rats! Keep away from them! Amicia, they're everywhere! Hundreds of them! I don't believe it!
You get to use all sorts of medieval tools and alchemy to solve puzzles and fend off threats. There's a lot of sneaking around which keeps you on your toes, and the tension is constant because you never know when a swarm of rats will pop up or soldiers will catch you. One of the standout aspects is the relationship between Amicia and Hugo. The voice acting is top notch, and you really get invested in their struggle and growth throughout the game. It's one of those stories that sticks with you long after you've finished playing.
Looking for a doctor. Laurentius.
A doctor, perhaps. A man did come and help at the hospice early on. The monks might be able to tell you more, but
What?
they haven't been seen recently. No one goes near the church anymore.
It's all we have.
Control. I'll say that this one is a hell of a ride. You've got a lot of stuff going on and enemies flying around left and right. The setting of the game is in this weird sort of government building which somehow gives mystery vibes and kind of provides an impression that there's definitely something wrong about this place. You play as Jesse Faden, who enters this building, and the moment you enter the place you can feel something's off. It's like the reality is constantly shifting around you. It's got this whole creepy sci-fi vibe that keeps you on edge. My one and only favorite part about this game are the weapons and the powers. You start out with just a basic gun, but it's not just any gun, it's the service weapon, which can transform into different forms as you progress. And the coolest part is that you unlock these insane telekinetic powers. I mean, who doesn't love throwing desks and chunks of concrete at enemies with just a flick of your wrist? You won't believe it, but it's so good to use your telekinetic powers and surprise enemies in the weirdest ways possible. Control is sort of a mix of Quantum Break and Infamous with the whole idea of sci-fi telekinesis and chaotic powers. The game is as good as listening to a rock song where every beat represents blasting enemies. If we talk about the storyline, then it's kind of a mind bender. You're searching for your brother and trying to figure out what happened in this place, all while dealing with this mysterious entity. The plot unfolds through documents you find in these eerie live-action videos, giving you bits and pieces of the larger mystery. In my opinion, the story is not the main focus of this game, as for me, it gets really frustrating to find these so-called files or documents and piecing together everything. I love somewhat cutscene or dialogue-focused storytelling. However, if you love exploring and puzzle solving all while having the time of your life blasting enemies through the ceiling, then definitely Control is your best choice. The graphics are top-notch, especially with all the destructible environments. Blowing holes in walls and seeing the debris scatter is so satisfying. If you're into supernatural, mind-bending adventures, you've got to check it out. Skyrim. I'm so happy that I'm talking about this game once again. Skyrim is the godfather of RPG games. There are a lot of OG players who are still playing the game, and the modding community is pretty great. Apparently Skyrim is one of the highest modded games. If you've never played it, you're in for a treat. This game is like a massive open world fantasy sandbox where you can do almost anything you want. Imagine stepping into a medieval fantasy world filled with dragons, magic, and a ton of lore. That's Skyrim for you. The game starts off with the player saving himself from a dragon attack. Apparently you're a dragonborn, someone who can devour dragon souls and use their powers. The main story revolves around you trying to stop a dragon apocalypse, but honestly, that's just scratching the surface. The world is so vast and detailed that you can spend hundreds of hours just exploring, completing side quests, and uncovering secrets. The game is literally filled with a lot of stuff, and believe me, you'll wonder what's your in-game purpose. Are you supposed to kill a dragon? Or solve conflicts? Maybe even serve under the king? There's just a lot going on which sometimes becomes confusing. However, I'm sure that if you just give it a little time, you'll find out that the game is actually pretty awesome. One of my favorite things is just how alive the world feels. NPCs have their own routines and personalities. You might overhear a couple arguing about their finances in one town or witness a giant attacking a band of travelers in the wild. It makes every playthrough feel unique. Now, I'm not going to talk about the graphics. We all know that the game is pretty outdated, but you can easily fix this by installing the mods. Trust me, Skyrim looks much better with different types of enhanced mods. Sure, you can also play in vanilla, if that's your jam. So, if you're into fantasy adventures with a mix of dragons and magic, Skyrim is definitely a game you should play. Just be prepared to spend a lot of time. Witcher 3. I can write a whole essay about this game. Witcher 3 is without a doubt the #1 RPG game. In fact, just yesterday I was thinking about what if I get stuck in a place and I can only play one RPG game for the rest of my life, and you know what? Witcher 3 came on top. Of course, I didn't give it a lot of thought, but the game is extremely engaging and there's a lot to discover. Sure, Skyrim is also a great choice. However, you just gotta hand it to the developers. They did an amazing job making The Witcher's world filled with colors, NPCs, side quests, multiple environments, and the good stuff with all the female characters.
Waited until you found me, but well, you know me. Patience has never been my strong suit. It's good to see you, Geralt.
Now, there are also two of my favorite aspects, with the first one being the environments. The game literally nailed this concept. You can never get tired of exploration as the map is filled with a variety of places such as cities, castles, forests, sewers, mountains, and a lot more. To this day, I still admire the beauty of this game. Hands down, one of the best single-player adventures with monsters or creatures. Of course, Red Dead is also a great game if we talk about the environments, but Witcher is the best as it's about the good old RPG stuff where monsters are scattered throughout the map. My second favorite thing is the storyline. Now, just for this, I want to mention the second part as well. Even though Witcher 3 itself provides a great story, when you combine the story of both second and third part, it just becomes extremely worthy of experiencing. I agree that the starting hours are sort of slow-paced and might feel boring, but when you progress a little bit and find out about what's going on, then it gets highly interesting. Finally, I would also like to say that there are 2 awesome DLC, and each is almost good as a brand new game. For me, Blood and Wine is the pinnacle of beauty. The entire area is so colorful and compels me to explore and see each and every corner. Before I reveal my final pick, here are some honorable mentions. Red Dead 2. The reason I'm including this game in bonus games is because I have already talked about it many times on the channel, and of course everyone knows how amazing Red Dead is. So it's no doubt that almost everyone will enjoy this single player adventure, assuming they don't quit the game in the first chapter just because they get bored from all the horse riding. I believe that even though the game is kind of slow in the first few hours, all the other chapters make up for it. I'm sure that a lot of you have spent over 50 hours just exploring the game in the second chapter. Rockstar made a true gem that will be played for decades to come. Now, the next bonus game is Doom Eternal. This is one of those games that you can call the best FPS game ever. The thrill and excitement you get after shooting monsters and blasting their heads is on a whole different level. We all know that Doom series is loved by millions of players, but Eternal is just something that enhances everything as it's also available on PS5. The game literally gives you complete freedom and your only goal is to shoot whoever comes in your way. The fast-paced shooting and soundtracks enhances the experience, resulting in having an insane blast. If you guys are in a mood for some FPS fun, then Doom Eternal will be a nice choice. Moving on, we have Nier Automata. Perhaps one of the most loved post-apocalyptic sci-fi games. Nier is a fan-favorite game, and we all love it for its main character, the storyline, combat, playstyles, and the graphics. The game has amazing graphics and visuals capable of rivaling even some of the latest games.
These machines are talking.
Yeah, I heard from the Resistance that they've been seeing this a lot lately. Couldn't tell you why, though.
Also, there's even an anime about this which shows how popular Automata is, even though the anime didn't get a great audience response. There's no doubt that the overall game is amazing because you are not just playing it in a third-person perspective. Nier Automata forces players to play in different playstyles or in different angles such as side-scrolling.
Hypothesis: jamming caused by enemies in local vicinity.
Now, our last bonus game is one of the best sci-fi story games, Detroit Become Human. The concept and mechanics of this game are where it truly shines. It's so good to see that as a player you're controlling the lives of 3 androids and every choice to make somehow shapes the story, resulting in different endings.
Tell that helicopter to get out of here!
Detroit is set in a futuristic world where robots do a lot of work, and amidst all this, there are 3 androids, which basically means robots. The game's story interconnects the sub-stories of each of these 3 characters. So, in short, if you're in a mood to play some futuristic sci-fi games and truly want to focus on the storyline, then Detroit will be your prime choice. It also has amazing graphics, and the voice acting is top-notch.
Including Class 4 errors. Been deemed defective and will be sent back to Cyberlife for deactivation.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider and I'm a huge fan of the series. My favorite is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I know it's not really well received in the community, but just think about it. This game is what all Tomb Raider is about, exploring, solving puzzles, and shooting the bad guys. Lara is also badass in this game compared to a more naive young woman Tomb Raider 2013. Anyways, I'm not saying that any part is bad, but it's just that the first 2 games are pretty great as they feature some awesome combat and a perfectly paced storyline. Also, I'm only talking about the recent 3 parts. But anyways, for this video, we are going to talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it is considered one of the best in the entire Tomb Raider franchise. The game kicks off with a little bit of recap and the usual Lara looking through documents, stumbling upon something unique, which in this part is an ancient elixir of immortality. Now, this is just a kind of prologue, because the perfect start of the game is on a snowy mountain where you're traveling with your best friend Jonah, and suddenly a snowstorm hits, giving us one of the best in-game cutscenes. From that point on, you enter a place where the NPCs are fighting with the Trinity, which is the villain organization of the game. In short, the entire story is about how you win and stop Trinity from acquiring the elixir. Now, the developers really outdid themselves and made some significant improvements. They perfected each and every feature from 2013's reboot and also added some other cool stuff. I'm just saying that Rise is one of the best games in the franchise. The 2013's release is basically a reboot and a great entry to get into the series. The game's world is stunning. The graphics are top-notch and the snowy environments are beautifully crafted. The tombs you explore are more intricate and rewarding compared to the previous game, which was a big plus for me. They're like little puzzle rooms that really make you think and feel like an adventurer. Overall, Rise of the Tomb Raider is a thrilling and immersive experience. If you like the first game, you'll definitely enjoy this one.
I can feel it. Just this last stretch to the top.
All right. Let's see what's up there.
Alright, this ends our list of some of the great single-player games that you must play to have an all-out amazing experience. I know that I probably have skipped some of your favorite games, but I have already made several videos on this topic. Therefore, do check out some of my old single-player videos if you are interested in knowing about more single-player games. Anyways, if you have made it this far, then please subscribe as I'm close to reaching 19,000 subscribers and join my Discord community for helpful gaming content.